Wait, what? Why America still uses Fahrenheit. Let's find out. And then there's also this one I want to watch too. The real reasons why US refuses to go metric. Let's find out why. Because this has been something that has plagued the rest of the world
I have a confession to make. I've lived in the United States since 2010, and...
Alexa, what's the weather today?
Right now in New York, it's 65 degrees with clear skies and sun. Today's forecast has partly sunny weather, with a high of 77 degrees and a low of 61 degrees.
I don't know. Is that hot or is that cold? I don't know.
I still don't understand the use of Fahrenheit.
Trust me, buddy. The rest of the world doesn't understand the use of Fahrenheit.
Literally every country on Earth uses Celsius to measure temperature.
Yeah, this is 100% true. We use Celsius. Of course we do.
And for that reason, we at Vox often get comments like these.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stick to the goddamn metric system, folks.
The majority of the world uses it.
Damn it!
The metric system makes conversions a lot easier.
What the hell is this conversion system, guys? If you're in America, you're gonna have to explain yourself. Damn it! What the hell is this conversion system? See, this is the thing with the metric system. It's so easy. Meters, it's all like times 1,000. It's so easy. You just add 3 zeros and that's it. Oh, gee, I have like 3 kilograms of fish. How many grams is that? Oh, hang on, let me think. I'll just add 3 zeros to the number. Oh, there we go. It's 3,000 grams of fish. Oh man, I need to move something like, I need to go in a truck to like 6.87 kilometers away. How many meters is that? Well, let me just think. I know, I'll just move the friggin' decimal point and then add an extra 0 because we're just multiplying everything by 1,000. So that's, what did I say? 6.87. So that's 6,870 meters. Oh, it's so easy. And then you talk to an American. So I need to move something about, I don't know, 5,463 yards away. How much is that in miles? Well, let me think. What the fuck is the answer? What is the answer? I need to literally crack open a calculator on my phone to figure out the answer. What did I even say? 5,476? I don't know. I'm gonna look back into it. Like I'll be like, I didn't say 5,476. Point is, 5,400. Oh fuck it. Calculator. Oh no, I need to move, for whatever reason, I need to move 5,476 yards away. How much is that in miles, ladies and gentlemen? Let's find out. Imagine having the American metric systems for counting in French. Wait, what? What does that even mean? Divided by, what was that, 1760. So that's apparently 3 miles. Really? Okay, so that's like 3.11 miles. Gee, I need to have like 2 million intellect to figure that out on the top of my head. Because ladies and gentlemen, folks, listen, I don't know my 1,760 times tables, okay? Like, I just don't know what it is. You know how French people is counting, what, 1, 2, 3? Ounces to pounds. 16? Who the hell came up with 16? Why do you people use such non-rounded numbers? God damn it, it's like kilograms to a ton. Oh, and here's another thing. You see how it says kilogram? And you see how it says, oh, by the way, my hiccups are gone. You see how it says kilograms? And you see how it says grams? You see how it says kilometers? And you see how it says meters? Kilo is the prefix for 1,000. Kilometer literally means 1,000 meter. It's so simple! And yet you guys in America are so hell-bent in saying, insert basketball player. Fucking, so LeBron James, right? He's coming out here at a whopping, I don't know how tall he is, like 7'3", whatever the hell that is, right? How much is that in inches? Oh, I don't bloody know. I gotta actually like put on the friggin' mental math just to figure out what that is. Is he even 7'3"? I don't know. He's probably like 6'7". I don't know. Point is, it's like, oh god, he's 7'3". So how much is that in inches? let me crack open my 12 times tables. Like, what is that? Oh, linking videos actually works on a Restream. The Restream UI actually has a clickable link. Well, there we go, folks. You can actually link videos now. So, yeah, just do that next time. Anyway, yeah, point is, what the hell is this conversion stuff? When I was in America for like 3 months, that shit drove me up a fucking hill, man. I just didn't understand that at all.
The Celsius scale even looks simpler. It has freezing and boiling points at
Yes,
nice round
yes.
numbers.
Celsius, okay, the Celsius scale works like this. When water freezes, the freezing point of water is 0. The boiling point of water is a round number called 100. That's it. That's fucking it. It's it.
0 and 100. Where in
That's it.
Fahrenheit, it's a bit of a mess.
32 and 212. Where do you get these numbers from? What the hell does that even mean? 32? 212? Where did this come from?
And of course,
I mean,
this
they'll
isn't
probably
just an
explain
issue
it,
of aesthetics
but I'm just
or
like,
weather
what
updates. America's unwillingness to switch over to the metric system has had serious consequences. In 1990,
serious consequences. For example, when foreigners go to America and they're like, and they turn on the news and they be like, guy asking how many countries landed on the moon using, guess what, NASA uses metric. First off, NASA uses metric. Secondly, pretty sure China landed on the moon. They also used metric. Pretty sure Russia's landed on the moon, haven't they? Wait, have they? Or am I just completely making shit up now? No, China hasn't landed on the moon. What the fuck am I talking about? Point is, a few countries, I think, I don't know, I'm just completely making shit up right now. I'm pretty sure a few countries have at least sent people out to outer space. Not outer space, what am I saying? To space. It's late. I don't know. I'm losing my mind. Doesn't mean anything! Anyway, the big meme when America sticks to using the imperial system is when people come to America and they look on the news and the news says, oh yeah, so the weather for sunny California is going to be a very balmy 85 degrees. We'll be like, 85 degrees? How the fuck do you guys live here? That's close to when water boils, because water boils at 100 degrees. But then we have to remember, all right, Fahrenheit, because you guys still use this bloody outdated system. Let's move on.
1999, a $125 million satellite sent to Mars.
6'9"? You reckon he's
disappeared
6'9"?
in the
Okay, well, there we
Martian atmosphere.
Didn't I
It's a
guess
setback to
6'7"?
years of work already done. In the vastness of space, all it takes is one navigation error.
And this colossal mistake was largely due to a conversion error between US and metric measurements.
Fucking
Fahrenheit
Americans.
was really useful in the early 18th century.
All right, here we go. Let's learn some
At the
history.
time, no one really had a consistent way to measure temperature. But then a German scientist came up with the Fahrenheit scale when
Also, it was the Germans who screwed everyone up. Well, rather the Americans up. Anyway,
he
moving
invented
on.
the mercury thermometer in 1714.
Okay, came up with
To
the
make
mercury
the
thermometer.
scale, the most popular theory is that he picked the temperature of an ice-water-salt mixture at the 0 mark.
Wait, that's the scale? Ice plus water plus salt? Okay.
He then put the freezing point of water, which is higher than a salt mixture at 32, and placed the average temperature of the human body at 96. From there, he placed a boiling...
Why? I'm sure there's way more details than what is being said in this video right now, but why just random? This seems so arbitrary. Why put the average body temperature at 96?
point of water at 212 degrees.
Oh, 32. Oh, because it's 3 times the freezing point. Okay, fair enough. 212. 212. Wait. 212 divided by 32 is 6.625. Okay, so that doesn't round into it at all. Okay,
In
anyway.
1724, Fahrenheit formalized that scale and was inducted into the British Royal Society, where his system was a big hit. As Britain conquered huge parts of the globe in the 18th and 19th centuries, it brought the Fahrenheit system and other imperial measurements such as feet and ounces along with them. And Fahrenheit became a standard system for the British Empire across the globe. In the meantime, the metric system was gaining popularity during the French Revolution.
Oh, viva la France! Viva la révolution! Brings us the metric system. Oh, here we
It
go.
was put in place to unify the country at the national level. So by the second half of the 20th century, Celsius became popular in many parts of the world, when many English-speaking countries began using the metric system.
Okay.
Even America attempted to switch over. The change would have been good for trade and scientific communications
Lol.
with the rest of the world.
But what stopped them?
So Congress passed a law, the 1975 Metric Conversion Act.
Wait, really? Does changing I guess changing the system with which you convert numbers and measurements, I guess that really needs an act of Congress, I guess.
Which led to the United States Metric Board that would educate people about the system. This created the only metric highway sign in the US, the Interstate 19.
Wait, for real?
This created the only metric highway.
This created the only metric highway sign. In other words, the only sign that actually makes any fucking sense. It's the only sign that makes sense, man. When it says 8 kilometers, I know exactly what that means. 8,000 meters. We are generally somewhere between 1.5 and 2 meters long. We know what that means. The people didn't want that though, then the people are dumb. I'm sorry. The fact that you guys cling to that, big
the
yikes.
Interstate 19 connecting Arizona to Mexico. But it didn't go
Wait,
much further
really?
than that. The
Okay.
problem was that unlike the UK, Canada, or Australia,
Represent.
the law made the switch voluntary instead of mandatory. And of course,
Hang on, let's just listen to that again.
Canada or Australia, the law made the switch voluntary instead of mandatory.
I think governments need to stop thinking that they can make things voluntary instead of being mandatory. If they're trying to make something happen, they have to make it mandatory. Otherwise, people who don't like it, they're just going to ignore it. Remember back, and this is something from Australia, remember back to when we had that whole friggin' same-sex marriage debate? When the government actually thought it was a good idea to put it to a friggin' poll? It wasn't even a referendum. It was just like a non-binding poll. Like, where, like, the government literally was like, we're just gonna send everyone, like, they spent millions of dollars. Oh, we're just gonna send this thing to everyone. It's just gonna say, do you think gay people should be married? Like, it's something like that. Do you think gay people should be married? Yes or no? And then you had the option of ticking yes or ticking no, and you also had the option of not even ticking anything and just throwing it in the trash. And then and the government even went out and said, oh, by the way, this is non-binding. It was what's it called? The plebiscite. That's what it's called. It's a plebiscite. It was a non-binding plebiscite. Like, who the hell cares then? Stop making things voluntary. You're the government. You have to make things mandatory. That's like basically your entire job.
The Metric Board couldn't enforce the conversion. So President Reagan ended up.
Wait, hold on, really?
And the Metric Board couldn't enforce
People
the
resisted the
conversion.
change. Oh,
so
for real?
President Reagan
Okay, well,
ended up
rip
suspending
that.
the board in 1982. The next nudge to Metricate came when the metric system became the preferred measure for American trade and commerce in 1988.
Well, of
But
course it
nothing
was, because
really
everyone
stuck
else
with
was
the
using
general
it.
Public, even though bizarre measurements.
Wait, what?
But nothing really stuck with the general public.
Nothing stuck with the general public because they're using gallons. Okay.
Even though bizarre measurements like feet and Fahrenheit are.
Wait, what the hell am I looking at here? 3 feet, 0.9 meters. Well, that's probably your first mistake. Because you're confusing people. It says 3 feet, it says 0.9 meters, and they'll be like, oh, what does any of this mean? Just write 1 meter. Just make everyone like freaking get used to it. Like, just get used to it.
Favors. Students have to train for 2 sets of measurements, making science education even more difficult.
Oh, that's
and
even
companies
worse.
Spend extra dollars producing 2 sets
Last
of
thing you
products.
need is to like have 2 sets of data floating in your head when you're trying to learn how to measure like a table. It's like, here's a table, grab your ruler, now measure it. Now, what is it in meters? What is it in friggin' I don't know, inches? Is that the right one you would use? What is it in meters? What is it in inches? Nobody wants to do that. Okay? Nobody wants to do that. It's already hard enough in primary school when you're like, I think the ruler says 1, 2, 3 and a bit. I think that means it's 1 meter. And the teacher's like, good job. It's actually 1.1 meters, but whatever, fuck it. But like, when you have 2 sets of data, it's like, I think it's 1 meter and I think it's like I don't know what 1 meter is in inches. 7 inches? I don't know. Is it 6 inches? I don't know. It's not 6 inches. Point is, of course that's not going to work. You stick to one. You either stick to like this outdated piece of crap system, or you stick to the one that everyone else is using.
One for the US and the other for metric. There's also an argument for
Wait,
2
what?
sets of products, one for the US and the other for metric.
People had to spend more money on products, one for the US. What the Oh
There's
my god.
also an argument for public health. According to the CDC, about 3,000 to 4,000 kids are brought to the ER due to unintentional medication overdose every year. And conversion errors for dosage are to blame.
Because people were not used to the metric system. So then when they looked at something that said, hey, take 5 milligrams, and they thought, I'll just take, 5 ounces? And so then, boom, they overdosed. Okay, that's actually really sad. I shouldn't be laughing at that, but at the same time, conversion memes, man. Oh my god.
So it seems like a no-brainer. America needs to switch to the metric system to match the rest of the world.
Correct.
But it is still struggling to make that change. That's because it'll take a lot of time and money, but there's no financial proof that this will all be worth it. So unless that change is proven to be economically better, we're not going to be using Celsius anytime soon.
What's 77 Fahrenheit in Celsius?
77 degrees Fahrenheit is 25 degrees Celsius.
Wait, hold on. How is it not financially advantageous to be able to, save money and, save time? Oh, I specifically wanted to watch this video, Dennis. How did we go? How is it not financially advantageous to be able to, easily trade with other... Wow, he says spinning everything. Trade with other countries being like... Oh, I don't know how trade works, actually. No, international trade. How is it not advantageous to be able to just say yeah, we're gonna get many megatons of energy and shit. I don't know. It just doesn't sound right that it's not. It just doesn't sound right that it is not financially advantageous for an entire nation to be using the same system as literally everyone else. I don't know, that doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, let's have a look at this one too. This one could be interesting.
We struggle with units of measurement all the time on our channel.
This is The Verge.
And it's something
Oh,
that
The
we
Verge,
get
right.
a lot of comments about.
Pro tip, use the metric
Why
system.
don't you use the metric system, man? It's so annoying.
Metric, please.
Just use a
Truth.
fucking metric system, for God's sake.
Yeah, you're
We
a
interview
goddamn science
scientists,
channel. Use the metric
engineers, and
system,
other
you
researchers,
pricks.
but they live in a metric world. We then have to turn around and make a video. But around half of our audience is American. So if we say something in centimeters or kilograms, it could trip up a lot of our viewers.
Okay, 1 second. I do need to push back on that one, just a tiny bit, because I don't think that's necessarily I don't think that's really a good point. I get it. On the one hand, I get it. If half your viewers are American, I guess it makes sense. You want to cater to whoever's your largest part of your audience. But I do believe most of the people in my audience, according to my analytics, are also American. I have no problem saying that things are centimeters long. Y'all just gotta figure it out, folks. It's that simple. Y'all just gotta figure it out. Can I even find the analytics audience? It's under audience, I think. Audience. Okay, here we go. Gender. Here we go. Okay. 35% US, ladies and gentlemen. The vast majority of one country is US. That's why we're going to watch this. Because it's kind of hilarious. All right, let's move on.
We've tried going back and forth. We should make an executive decision if I'm using Fahrenheit or Celsius.
Celsius.
It's like isn't it 3 something feet? We should know this.
We put conversions in parentheses on screen, but it's a mess. And we want to know why. Almost everyone on the planet uses the metric system, but why has the United States held out? Well, there are a ton of reasons, both big and small. But here are 3 reasons that we've never considered before.
All right, let's see if they're reasonable. Let's see if they're reasonable.
US measures are dumb, but they make sense. Officially, the United States...
Okay, first off, they make sense. I find that extremely doubtful, but let's just see what they have to say.
It uses a system known as the US customary measures. It's adapted from the imperial system that we inherited from our British forefathers, and we've clung to their feet and ounces ever since. The UK is now officially metric-based, but in practice, imperial units are sticking around there too.
I mean, wait, hold on, what?
But in practice...
Oh, the UK, right.
The UK is now officially metric-based, but in practice, imperial units are sticking around there too.
I'm in such a quandary. I wake up in kilograms, I go to bed in ounces, do I measure things by meters or feet? I don't know. It's actually, no, it's fine, it's fine.
That's James Vincent, a reporter for The Verge. James lives in the UK, but writes for a US-based publication, so he's pretty familiar with the headaches caused
so this dude
by
actually has
two
to,
systems of measurement.
This dude right here, he's got the 2 systems floating around in his head. That's the whole thing I was talking about. Like, in that other video, they were saying, like, yeah, trying to teach kids both Celsius... Also, this is kind of hilarious. Why does it have such a massive dislike ratio? That's kind of hilarious. Anyway, when they're saying, like, oh yeah, trying to teach kids both Celsius and Imperial at the same time, well, that didn't work. Well, obviously, because it's confusing as all hell to have 2 different systems, one of which does not compute all that easily, if you ask me. Let's move on. This guy's basically got the 2 working in his head.
James says feet and ounces might be clunky, but the US and the UK haven't ditched them because they just work. A foot, for example, is more relatable than a meter, which was originally defined as 1/10 millionth the distance from the equator to the North Pole.
If a foot is meant to be the size of a foot...
This is what it sounds like. An inch is about the width of an adult thumb. If you have a body, you can use these measures.
Really?
Some people...
An inch is the width of a thumb. Okay, well... Oh, camera died. 1 sec. Okay, we back? Okay, we're back.
People argue, and I think there's a decent case to be made, that they are sort of on a human scale.
And while many European countries ditched their old measures because they were irregular or confusing, America's
especially when it comes to
units were just
conversion.
more consistent right from the get-go.
US has started on a stronger footing than many European countries did. They have had good, consistent weights and measures, and consistency matters far more than what unit you're actually using.
The point is, the US system has always been a little more accessible than metric. Sure, stacking up 12 thumb widths to make a foot, that's still kind of weird, but it's not so weird that we're clamoring to change it. Reason number 2.
Okay, fine. The fact that an inch is relative to, or rather, is representative of the width of a thumb. Therefore, you can imagine how long something is by thumbs stacked together. Fine. Okay, I'll give you that. And of course, the foot being the size of a freaking foot. Fair enough. Fine. I understand where that's coming from. Okay, fine.
Americans can't be bothered to switch. Adopting the metric system is something that a majority of Americans would have to get behind. There'd need to be a popular movement. And very recently, one man tried to make that happen.
All right.
Who's swerving on the... Okay. That guy's drunk. Swerving on the road like that. Oof. Big
We
guy.
took a trip to Rhode Island to talk to Lincoln Chafee. He's a former senator, Rhode Island
Oh,
governor,
friggin' Lincoln
and presidential
Chafee?
candidate in 2016. And he had a grand vision for taking the U.S. metric.
I think America
I think I
should
remember
be
hearing about that.
behaving a little more in the, along with the other civilized countries. And it just makes sense when our two closest countries, Mexico and Canada, both have metric. So it's as an international forward-looking way of where America's going is how I got interested in promoting the metric system.
Lincoln ran on his Prosperity Through Peace platform, which focused less on military spending and more on infrastructure, education, and generally making friends with other countries.
What does this have to do with
But he tacked
the
one
metric
extra
system?
point onto his platform that seemed pretty fated to backfire.
Earlier, I said, let's be bold. Here's a bold embrace of internationalism.
Maybe it's
Let's
not... Okay, listen, maybe it's not such a good idea for like a politician who's trying to run for president to be putting this on his freaking thing. Because you know what's going to happen? Like, as soon as he says, let's try and get this internationalism happening, you know what's going to happen? There's a bunch of people who are going to be like, oh my god, the fucking globalists are trying to take over the world again! So, you know, that's probably not such a good idea. No wonder it failed.
In the rest of the world and go metric.
I just kept saying, Stephanie was right, my wife was right. Never should have brought it up. I remember exactly when I was reading her the speech, right near where we're sitting right now, and she said, don't put the metric in there. It's going to be misinterpreted.
Yeah, no, don't put the metric
But
thing
I
there,
wanted
man.
to
That was
test.
pretty weird.
Have a conversation about some controversial things.
Unfortunately for Lincoln, his test was pretty conclusive.
Well, nobody cared about him as well.
An important part of his platform is getting the U.S. to finally adopt the metric system.
Lincoln Chafee. He'll be out of this race in 0.2 nanoseconds.
Now, Lincoln Chafee's odds of getting the U.S. to finally embrace the metric system are probably about as long as Lincoln Chafee's odds of getting to be the next president of the United States.
But my wife was right. It was totally misinterpreted and ridiculed and mocked, and nobody ever asked about any of the other issues.
Lincoln withdrew from the race in 2015.
Probably because nobody cared about him. I'm going to be real here. Let's just skip everything to do with Lincoln Chafee. I don't really care about him. Spending way too long on him.
Has fallen under the yoke of tyranny, the metric system.
Wait, what? Hang on, there's an entire section that I've missed. Okay, hold on, one sec.
All of the story, don't hold your breath for a metric uprising in America.
Almost every nation on earth has fallen under the yoke of tyranny, the metric system.
Yes, the metric system, ladies and gentlemen. The fact that our things, we'll talk about, date formats too. What the hell is that? The fact that our measurements are easily divisible by 1,000 to figure out other measurements within them. Yes. Like I said, that's why Lincoln Chafee shouldn't have brought it up. Because it's the globalist taking over our country and trying to put water into trying to put chemicals into the water, you know? Like, it's tyranny, man! It's tyranny! Etc.
But for what it's worth, we might actually be in the middle of a much sneakier metric takeover. Reason number...
You know, the whole world is just cringing at this whole thing. It's like, the metric system is tyranny. But the rest of us was like, what the hell are you saying, man? Like, how do you come up with that? Everything is tyranny, folks. Everything is tyranny. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, mate. We are breaking through the conditioning. Metric system, the metric system, the freaking date formats. As as Dennis Carnival brought up, the freaking date formats. The fact that the globalists put the day first, they put the month second, they put the year at the end. It's the globalist tyranny, man. It's freaking, what is his name? Oh, who's that? Not Soul Hero. That's fucking Telstra dude. Sol Guerrero. Who the hell? Point is, I can't remember his name, but there's that like this uber liberal, this uber like globalist leftist friggin' dude, without getting too hard into politics, there's this uber leftist liberal globalist dude who they always pin everything onto, as like it's his thing, it's his reasoning, it's his plan to enslave all of humanity by using the dirty globalist metric system. We see you, and that's why we refuse 100% to make sure that our measurements are easily divisible by 1,000 into other measurements. God damn it, man. Anyway, let's move on.
The U.S. is secretly already metric. The U.S. may not...
Oh, that's a big claim. The U.S. may be secretly metric. Oh, that is a big claim. Let's see what they have to say about that.
Officially metric, but meters and kilograms have found their niches. First, U.S. scientists do not mess around with U.S. measures.
Metric was designed by scientists and who primarily, they were...
Well, see, that's why America won't use metric, because it's used by scientists. Americans don't listen to scientists. We all know this.
Annoyed about inconsistencies within the systems they were currently using.
The metric system uses standard, consistent prefixes based on powers of 10.
Yes,
so if you know your
correct.
prefixes, you can measure a lot or a little of anything using one base unit.
Whether you're doing sort of very precise measurements in chemistry or you're looking at astronomical differences, that's where metric is useful, because you can just move, if you want to move the unit, you just, move the decimal point.
Industry?
See? That's what makes metric so easy. Oh, I'll just move the decimal point. I'll just add some zeros. We're done.
He is largely on board with metric as well. In 1988, Congress passed a bill which required federal agencies to use metric measurements. Another bill in 1992 required businesses to use metric for consumer goods too. Ever wonder why your soda can lists both ounces and milliliters?
Yeah, but the problem is... Wait, hold on. Let's just go back.
2. Ever wonder why your soda can lists both...
Okay, yeah, but the problem is... 355. Why is it using such a randomly not-so-rounded thing? Also... 12 FL ounces. What the hell is that? You guys have ounces, but then you also have FL ounces? But it's not like FL ounces is like... I mean, I might be completely wrong here because, I don't use the friggin' imperial system. But is FL ounces like a multiplier on that ounce? Or is it just an adjective name on that ounce? I don't know. Because when we look at... Because, like, for example, when you say ml versus L, you may be thinking milliliter. Wow, that must be like how FL ounce. What the hell does FL ounce even stand for? I don't even know. Like yard and naval yard. Yeah, but it's like it's not because here's the thing. When we say kilometer, kilo is an adjective. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Is used as an adjective to describe meter. But what does that adjective actually mean? 1,000. Therefore, 1 kilometer, like I said, is 1,000 meters. What the hell does FL mean? What the hell does I'm guessing here, Floridian? I don't know. Fluoro? What does that mean? What does 12 FL ounce mean? What does that mean? Is whatever FL stands for, is that an adjective for ounce, but is that adjective a multiplier on ounce? If it is, fine. If it's not, why? Naval yard. Dennis brought up naval yard. When something is a yard versus when something is a naval yard, oh, that might be nautical shenanigans though. Like, I don't know. It means there's soda in the can. True. No, you're right. Never mind. We should use the FL ounce system because when we see something is 12 FL ounce, fluoride. When we see something as 12 FL ounce, it just means that there's shit in the can, folks. That's the reason. Oh my god.
Ounces and milliliters. And last but not least, imperial units are now technically based on metric definitions. An inch is defined as 25.4 millimeters, and a pound is 0.4535927 kilograms.
Stop. Nobody's going to think about that. Like, sure, they may be defined like that, but nobody's going to think about it like that. If you're American, you probably don't. You'll never think, oh, an inch is 25.4 millimeters. If you're thinking American, you're not going to think, oh, a pound is point whatever the hell that is kilograms. You're not going to think that. And the same is going to happen the other way around. Nobody in Australia is ever going to think, oh, it's it's fluid ounces. Okay, is fluid a multiplier of the ounces? If not, what the fuck? Why? Why do you do this to yourself? Nobody in Australia, nobody in like the rest of the world, I'm pretty sure nobody in the rest of the world is like, oh, that's, so that's 7 inches? Oh, awesome. So that's 7 times 25.4 millimeters. What an amazing way to reference anything. No, stop. No, nobody's going to say that.
Metric really is everywhere.
You've got the scientific standards at the heart of the scientific community.
Weird,
you've
folks.
got companies, they're metric. And you might have, as we do in the UK...
Wait, hold on. The idea that companies are using metric, as someone who doesn't live in America, I can't say with any certainty that companies are actually using metric. Do we have anyone who is actually like proper, like not proper, do we have anyone who's living in America right now watching the stream? Can you tell me, this gonna cringe, what? Is anyone actually does anyone living in America actually walk into a company and then they have to actively engage in metric talk? I don't know. Is this the right way to interpret what they're saying? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But
certain examples where other units are used in day-to-day life, but where it counts, America is metric.
There you have it. The US is one big measurement gray area.
The argument about metric.
We haven't officially switched to metric, but we haven't shunned it.
I'm not entirely
either.
sure what.
It's a compromise between science and industry, which benefit from metric, citizens who feel no reason to change,
kilograms.
Anyway, sorry, I'm gonna.
And a government that's trying to keep everyone happy. Ultimately, there's only one way that James thinks this story ends.
As you know, the US is already metric, essentially. It just
if you're talking about this, yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, Chris, answer me this. Crap. Okay, Chris, do you work anywhere? Are you employed in any way, shape, and form by any chance? You don't have to tell us where or any of that shit. Just like, nope. Okay. My question is this. If you are employed in any way, shape, or form, does your employment often involve the use of the metric system for various things? Or do you guys actually converse on a near constant basis in Imperial? That's my big question. Let's say, for example, you're someone who in America who works at a coffee shop. Obviously, all of your listen, let's say you're working at a coffee shop, or cafe. It's called cafe. Why am I calling it a coffee shop? Let's say you're working at a cafe. All of your customers are going to come in and be like, yeah, I'd like I don't know what you guys say in America. 3 ounce. Is that too big? Yeah, I'd like a 3 ounce cup of coffee. What we call them small. I don't know how big that is. 3 ounce. Bottom line is, I've worked for sure. Okay, cool. Negative. Disabled fa-
worries.
Oh, okay, well, thank you for your service. He says to someone who's not even, he says as someone who's not even American, like, why would I be saying that? But anyway, yeah, thank you for your service. When you were actually serving then, no talk of metric unless you were overseas, yes? Not a single metric discussion was had. My point stands, therefore. My point stands. The US is not secretly metric, folks. I mean, that doesn't sound right to me at all. There may be a handful of companies, and of course the scientists, because, they're actually, smart. No, I'm kidding. The scientists, of course, they're going to be using metric because, they're talking to a lot of people overseas. They don't want to fuck around with Imperial. Some businesses may be using metric because, again, they're talking to a lot of people overseas. They don't want to fuck around with Imperial. But the vast majority, from my outside looking in experience, they're using friggin' Imperial 100%. Yes, the best way is to just completely ignore Imperial in school, and but you know what's going to happen then? Here's the thing. You know what's going to happen, Banzai? If the schools just completely ignore Imperial and they just start teaching they just start teaching the kids, the young impressionable kids, metric. Well, that's it. The globalists have finally taken over America, the last bastion of freedom, the last bastion of imperial measurements. It's the globalists taking over our country. That's it. It's never going to happen. The schools are never going to stop teaching Imperial, because the moment they stop teaching Imperial and start teaching metric, freedom dies. Freedom dies. Fucking freedom dies, man. The tyranny of whatever the hell we are under because we're using the metric system outside of America, that finally seeps into the land of America, home of the brave. Land of the brave, home of the free. No more. The moment the schools do metric in school, not the best use of English. The moment that happens, freedom dies.
Has this facade of measures. The thing to do is just to wait for that facade to slowly crumble away, and that will happen with time.
When that change happens, you can be sure that we at Verge Science will accept it with open arms. Until then, please be patient with us in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
We'll just have to see. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe our generation will just grow up, and then I'm a vet, but don't hesitate to rag. Yeah, I know. Maybe when our generation grows up and replaces the older generations, maybe something will happen. Maybe. At home, or otherwise the kids won't know what their parents talk about anyway. True. That is a good point. But oh my god. I will say this though. The whole point of Imperial being easy to visualize because it's basically your thumb and your foot, for example, I get it. I don't know how yards work. I don't know how miles work, but fine. I will give the Imperial system that, because when you're trying to figure out the metric system, where you just say a meter, it is kind of tricky if you're not used to it to try and visualize a meter, to try and visualize a kilometer. Well, you can't even visualize a kilometer because it's too bloody far away. But it's to visualize something that is a meter or two away. Unless you're used to it, you're not going to be able to figure it out immediately. Whereas if you say it's 5 feet away and a foot happens to be the size of your foot, then you can just be okay, I'll just take 5 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom, there it is. So I get that. But everything else just makes no sense. Chris, I know you're a vet, but the fact that you cannot compute how using the metric system is tyranny, it just goes to show the globalists have already gotten to you. Okay. All right, let's move on. Okay.